It's the Christian Kid 27, and I'm going to do the third day from our book, How to Relate to Impossible People, which is, I believe it's a Dictator. Yeah, so today's is the Dictator, and it's taken from Nehemiah chapter 2, verses 1 to 8. And so first we're going to read the passage for today, and then we're going to pray and go through the questions and pray some more, and we can leave it at that. So let's get started. So reading from Nehemiah chapter 2, verses 1 to 8. Early in the following spring, in the month of Nisan, during the 20th year of King Artaxerxes' reign, I was serving the king his wine. I had never before appeared sad in his presence. So the king asked me, "Why are you looking so sad? You don't look sick to me. You must be deeply troubled." Then I was terrified, but I replied, "Long live the king! How can I not be sad? For the city where my ancestors are buried is in ruins, and the gates have been destroyed with fire." The king asked, "Well, how can I help you?" "With a prayer to God of heaven." I replied, If it please the king, and if you are pleased with me, your servant, then send me to Judah to rebuild the city where my ancestors are buried." The king, with the queen sitting beside them, asked, "How long will you be gone? When will you return?" After I told them how long I would be gone, the king agreed to my request. I also said to the king, "If it please the king, let me have letters addressed to the governors of the province west of the Euphrates River, instructing them to let me travel safely through the territories on the way to Judah. And please give me a letter addressed to Asaph, the manager of the king's forest, instructing him to give me timber. I will need it to make beams for the gates of the temple's fortress, for the city walls, and for a house for myself." And the king granted these requests because the gracious hand of God was on me. So that was our reading. And so now we're going to pray for a difficult relationship that we have, that we might be encountering right now, that He'll have His hand on it, a solution to it. So, dear God, we come to you today to ask that you help us find a solution to a difficult relationship, whether it's like a parent-child relationship, an employer-employee relationship, or something more serious like wife and husband relationship. But mostly a relationship with you. Pray that you have your hand on us in those relationships, and that everything you have planned for us in those relationships will all work out, and that all the praise and glory will go to you. Amen. Okay, so the first question that we have in the book is, Nehemiah prayed earnestly for 3 months. That's a long time. He fasted in that time too, I believe. He fasted and prayed and mourned for 3 months. That was a long time. But then it says, why was he afraid to tell the king about his deep grief for those living in Judah? He wanted to return to Judah, and before he found out what had happened in Judah, the people that had come back had said that the people in Judah, people of Israel, weren't doing good, that the walls had been torn down and everything, like the gates have all been lit up in fire, and he wanted to return to Judah. He was afraid that what had happened to them was going to happen to him too. So he sat down and prayed, and he said, I know I've sinned, and I know my people have sinned. My family has sinned. He included himself in that sin, and he admitted it to God as he was praying to him, and he asked that he would basically have mercy on him, and that he would work everything out as far as him going back to Judah in his plan, that God would have his hand on it, and he ended up having his hand on it, and therefore the king granted all of his requests. But he was probably just afraid that what happened to the people in Judah would happen to him, and all of his ancestors were buried. I mean, that's pretty big. That's huge. I'd be afraid too. And the second question is, how did King Artaxerxes respond? So he first asked him questions like, how long are you going to be gone? And then things like that. And he asked him like why he was so sad. So at first he was really concerned about him. He was, making sure he was okay. So he was really, at first he seemed really nice and concerned and pretty much easygoing. Then when Nehemiah started asking him for these requests, he was asking him more serious questions like, how long are you going to be gone for? And when will you be back? And Nehemiah answered him, and he also asked him for letters about traveling safely to Judah, and about the timber, because obviously something might have happened between those people and the people who lived in Judah, that maybe he might need those things, so that might be another reason why he was afraid to go through. But he was putting his entire faith in God that he would work everything out, and he did. So the last question is, how did Nehemiah present the solution to the problem? Well, he had asked for letters. He had asked for letters to get through the the territories, and as he was walking through them for a safe journey to get to where he wanted to be, and he asked for letters for the timber to rebuild the walls and the gates, and he was he explained everything really, really well to the king, and I think that with him praying to God and being honest about things really helped him in the long run. So that's done for the question. The need for today, what we're going to pray for is that basically just the same as what happened to Nehemiah, that God will have his hand on us in whatever we do, and that everything will work out. So, dear God, we come to you today, and we ask that you have your hand on us as we go about our days, and that everything that you have planned for us will work out and come to light, and that everything that you want to be done and said will all be done and said. In your name, amen. So, there's a deed at the end of this, and it says, pray fervently for someone who needs help. And for someone who doesn't, for those of you who may not know what fervently, um, fervently, I think, fervently means to, like, basically do it like constant, really, really hard, really focused, like keep going, pursue it, you want it really, really bad, or all the time, something like that. So if you know someone who needs help, whether it's like emotionally or financially or, you know, anything relationship wise, where they are in their faith, anything like that, just anything pretty much. It could be even something like a pet, something has to do with their pet, anything, God hears it. Pray for them, you know, pray for their salvation, pray that things work out good. And even, you know, even if they don't, pray that, you know, God's hand will be like on them still, and that He will wrap them up in their love and do things to show them His love and that He cares. So, anyways, that's it for today. So I guess I will say thank you for coming. It's a little bit shorter. I had a little bit of a hard time with this one. I had to do a lot of reading, and I had to do this one over again a few times. So that's why it might not have been as good as the other ones. But if you have any questions, comments, anything, like if you have a correction, anything like that, I'm open for any of those. Just comment and post them, and I'll comment and get back to you. Anyways, thanks again, and I will talk to you later, and hope you'll join me for our next Bible study. Thanks. Bye.